Okay, so this movie is all about zooming. So we're going to go back and revert this mess. There we go. And as I said, this one's all about zooming. In fact, it's about scrolling too. Now, there's two tools right over here for you guys to pay attention to, and that is the zoom tool and the hand tool. Now, I think it should be called the scrolling tool, but it's called the hand tool, letter H. The zoom tool is the zoom tool, letter Z. And in fact, here's my keyboard shortcut. I'll hit Z. And look what happens to my cursor. It's now a magnifying glass. Now, there are several ways to use this, so please refer to this movie when you need to, because there's lots of fun ways of doing zooming, like 4 or 5 ways. Okay, so first of all, let's say that I wanted to zoom in onto this face. Click, and then it will actually center where you clicked and zoom in to a factor of 200%. It was 100%, I believe, a moment ago. Okay, let's zoom in again, right between the eyes. There we go. Now it's 300%, right? It's also showing up here, 300%. And as we zoom in, we get much tighter, of course. Now we're up to 1200%. 1200%. 1200% right down there. And you'll start to see that it's starting to degrade the image. We're starting to see the actual pixels themselves. Okay, continue to go in to a maximum of 3200%. That's standard for every file you open in Photoshop. You can zoom into a value of 3200% or 32 times. Okay, now how do you zoom out? Great question. I'm glad you asked. Hold down the Option key. Look what happens to your cursor. It gets the minus sign. Okay, this is the Alt key on the PC. Same thing, right? So now I'll click again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there we are back at 100%. So obviously we don't go in increments completely of 100%. It multiplies as you go along. That's why we only click 10 times. Okay? Now, I will tell you that that is the long way of doing things. Okay? That's great to get the hang of zooming, but that is the long and just takes too long to do that. Typically, we want to zoom in fairly quickly. So here's one way to zoom in quickly, and that is, let's say that I want to zoom in on the dog's face. So what I'm going to do is a click-drag maneuver, okay? Not a vanilla click, it's click-drag. The thing we did before, that was all vanilla clicks, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is click and drag. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, and I'm clicking and dragging. Oops, oh, this is a new feature. Oh, I hate this feature, by the way. This is called Scrubby Zoom, and I really hate it. Because it messes up my demonstrations. Okay, notice what I'm doing right now. I'm scrolling. Okay, I'm using the scroll bars down here to kind of move around, which is also kind of the slow way of doing things. Okay, so let's do this again. Let's back up a little bit. I'm going to hit the minus, make it the minus sign, and I'll zoom out a little bit more. There we go. Oh, and you can even get smaller than 100%. In fact, Option key, you can make it very tiny. Okay, not too cool though. So we'll just continue to zoom back into 100%. Right? Okay, now let me do this again. Let me turn off my masking here. There we go. Now let me do this a little bit faster, but I'm going to draw a rectangle like this. Like that. When I let go, it zooms right into it. Okay? Let me do that again. I'm going to just click and drag a rectangle, zooms right into what I want. That is the fast way of doing things. That's one of the key things you're going to need to know about Photoshop is once you get the hang of doing these tools, you want to work fast. Okay? Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to lay this on you several times this quarter. Get in the habit of having both of your hands on the desk. Okay? One hand is on the mouse, one hand is on the keyboard. Now, whether you're left or right-handed, it doesn't really matter. You can move things around the way you need to. Okay? So that's the fast way of doing it, was that click and drag maneuver. Rewind if you want to watch that again. Okay? Now, let's play around. As long as we're zoomed in here, let's do this. Let's hit the hand tool. And notice my cursor is now a hand, right? It's the scrolling tool. So all I got to do is, let's say I want to go look at the greenery. I can just scroll over this way, click and drag. Not a vanilla click, it's click and drag. Zooming around. I'm sorry, scrolling around. Right? Okay. That is scrolling. Not much more to it. I mean, you could just click in the bars down here and move around left and right. You could, move up and down, but frankly, it's just so much easier just to be able to just, click and drag and move where you want when you're zoomed in. You have to be zoomed in. You can't use the scroll tool or the hand tool when you are zoomed out and the file is small. It doesn't work that way. Okay? So that's the scrolling tool. That is the zoom tool. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. Now, in the course of showing you how this works, I've been taking the long way still. Okay? Because quite frankly, I don't even click on these guys. I don't even use the keyboard shortcuts. Let me explain. Okay, let's say that I go back to the brush tool. So I'll hit the letter B on my keyboard. Okay, this is why I want both hands on your keyboard. You're going to get the hang of this. You want to work fast. Okay, so let's say that I'm painting my little mess over here. Now, obviously, I'm just doing this for effect, but let's say all of a sudden I do want to be back on the dog's face. Well, rather than click Z to get to the zoom tool like this, I just want to stick with my brush tool. Okay, and I've got a special keyboard shortcut. Get ready for this. Okay, now it is spacebar command on the PC. I'm sorry, on the Mac. Spacebar command. And then I'll click and drag and zoom right into the dog's face. You see what happened there? When you hold down spacebar command, okay, what happens is, look at this. I've got the brush tool, right? When I hold down spacebar command, it temporarily gives me that zoom tool. It gives me that magnifying glass. When I let go of the spacebar command, it goes right back to the brush tool. This is a speed savings. This is a time savings that you want to use. Okay? So that is magic keyboard shortcut number 1, is to zoom in. Let me do this again. Okay, let me zoom out to where we were. Oops, hello. For this, I need to go back to the zoom tool just for a moment to demonstrate. So I'll hit Option, zoom out. Okay, now we're back to where we were. So I'm back to the brush tool, right? So again, spacebar command, click drag, zoomed in. Okay, I realize it probably sounds kind of complex with all this stuff going on, and because I'm talking fast to save time for this movie. But rewind, double check it again. Okay, now that's the magic thing, spacebar command. For the PC, it's going to be spacebar control. Spacebar control. Spacebar control for the PC, for the magic shortcut to zoom in. Okay, and by the way, being able to change from one tool to another like that is called working on the fly, which makes me, snap, it makes me work much faster. Okay, now, here is another magic keyboard shortcut to zoom out. Ready? On the Mac, it is Command 0. And it sets me right back to fill my screen. It's not 100%. Notice right now it is actually 101%. This really comes from this area right here, Command 0, fit on screen. So it fills whatever available screen real estate you've got, it does it that way. Okay? So those are the 2 magic keyboard shortcuts. Remember, spacebar command, and then Command 0 to zoom out fully. Okay? Cool. Now the last little trick for zooming in and out is, and it's not quite precise, but it is handy. Okay? And that is, let me go back 1 second. To do the zoom out, the PC equivalent of Command 0 is Control 0, of course. Alright, so to quickly zoom in and out when you're not really needing to be precise is, again, the Command key. PC people, you're on the Control key, right? Okay, so look at your keyboard next to the number 0, okay? So you've got the dash, which is really minus, and then on the right, it's the equal sign. Well, since we don't have the plus sign in the lowercase of this particular key, we really treat the equal sign as though it's the plus sign. Okay, so if I hit Command plus, it's actually showing up as Command equal, but I'm actually zooming in. Okay, oh, I went too far, right? Past 3,200%. Okay, if I hit Command minus, I'm zooming out. And I can get way small there, like 0.1%. Okay, so here's Command equal, which is really Command plus to zoom in, and Command minus to zoom out. So as I said, you've got 4 or 5 methods there of zooming in and out with speed and accuracy to some degree or another. Okay? So practice that, play with that, get to know it and love it, and I'll see you at the next movie.